Hey, welcome back to DieCash Cars. So today, guys, we are going to be talking about starting a Hot Wheel collection, how to do it, or in my particular case, you guys know I recently sold off the majority of my collection, so I'm actually going to be restarting my Hot Wheels collection, and I'm going to give you guys my 5 tips on how to build the best Hot Wheels collection that you can. And the first tip is collect what you like, and I know what you guys are thinking. Sounding like a broken record, that is such a cliche within the hobby. Everybody tells new collectors that collect what you like, buy what you like. But my own personal opinion is that you should collect what you like, with the caveat that, believe it or not, your tastes are always going to change because your interests in cars and automobiles in real life don't necessarily transfer over into 164. A perfect example of this, and to restart my own personal Hot Wheels collection, I wanted to start where it all began for me, an 04 Subaru WRX STI, my very first car in real life in Hot Wheels form. And this isn't just any other Subaru WRX STI. This is the WRC version, a pretty rare piece that I was finally able to acquire from my collection. But perfect example of collecting what you like, collecting for sentimental reasons, cars that you've seen or have had in the past that you want to remember within your 164 collection. But the caveat here, guys, is that even though I'm a die-hard Subaru fan and that is what I'm choosing to start my collection with, I know eventually I'm gonna gravitate towards Datsun 510s and Nissan Skylines because from a die-cast collecting standpoint, these are what's hot. These are the cars that everybody is shooting for. Better believe that if I see these on the pegs, I'm grabbing them one by one, guys. So the point here, guys, is collect what you like, but keep your options open. Don't be afraid to buy different cars that maybe you've never really had any kind of affinity for, but within all the influence within the hobby, you might find that your tastes have changed and you might be looking to expand and set up different sub collections within your collection of different makes and models. Let's just take a quick intermission to appreciate these 2 new additions to my collection, starting with this one here, the Auto Art. Yes, guys, Auto Art used to make a 164 scale car, full die cast. Unfortunately, it is a plastic base, but this is none other than the WRC 2003 Subaru WRX STI. I mean, look at all those details. I mean, it's got actual hood scoops, all the vents in the front end, acrylic headlights, acrylic tail lights. I mean, these are beyond real riders. It's got rubber tires. I mean, every single decal and license is on the car. And then you got the Hot Wheels variation of the car. And again, these are both replications of the same exact car. And as I mentioned earlier, this Hot Wheels version is a pretty rare piece. It came out of a WRC set with 3 other WRC cars. I believe one was the Pugo, and then you had the Ford Focus RS, and then the Lancer Evolution from Mitsubishi. But this Subaru is the most sought after of those 4. And this one is pretty awesome to have just because of the rarity. And obviously I was not collecting when this car was available. But quite the comparison, guys. If you look at these 2 cars side by side, the Auto Art is leaps and bounds beyond the Hot Wheels version, and rightfully so, because this is again just a $1 car. Although right now, secondary market price, both of these in loose format are about the same. I mean, the Hot Wheels version is going for about $70 to $80 loose. And the Auto Art version, if you can find it, again, another very rare piece, but this is also selling on the secondary market for about $70 to $80. The Hot Wheels version, if you can find it in carded form, goes for about $150 plus, depending on the condition. But both of these, I just purchased them off of eBay. The Auto Art I picked up for about $50, which is relatively fair for a loose version of it. But this Hot Wheels version, although it's not in great condition, definitely played with. The front end does look a little bit beat up. There is a big chip on the top of the car. This I only paid $22 for, and I feel like that was a steal because, again, in carded form it's going for about $150, and even in plated condition like this, I would still anticipate it to cost around $50 to $60, and getting it for 22 bucks is totally a steal, and I feel a great way to start my collection. And this all leads me into tip number 2, which is do not be afraid of eBay and the secondary market. There is definitely a stigma out there that the secondary market is like a wolf just looking to take advantage of any of the newcomers and looking to overcharge on cars that originally retail price were just in the dollar range. But in all honesty, some of these cars and releases are so old that the only way you can get them is on the secondary market. And sometimes you do have to pay more than what they cost retail, but that is basically a given when it comes to collectible items. But eBay and the secondary market is full of great deals. You just have to be vigilant. You just have to know your pricing and have a strategy on what cars to pick up and do the overall value assessment. And you guys are in luck because that is basically all I preach on my channel is secondary market values and how to get the best bang for your buck and build your collection at the same time. Tip number 3 is you must join the Hot Wheels Redline Club off of mattelcreations.com. The reason I say this, guys, is that is your one-stop shop to get the most exclusive Hot Wheels limited releases. And I know the reputation for the RLC is it's a place where you pay your membership and it's a money grab by Mattel. And because of the bots and the high competition, you're never going to get any of the releases. But I would say over the last couple of years, Hot Wheels and Mattel has done a really good job as far as keeping the bots out. They have a lot of caches and bot blockers in place so that everybody for the most part has a fair chance to get it. Mattel has also increased the quantities of their releases to level out the playing field. For instance, last couple of weeks there was the Acura NSX reused tribute that had the working lights. But that one, everybody anticipated it would be a quick sellout, but again, it was a pre-order style release. The quantities were unlimited or at least unknown to us collectors, and pretty much everybody who wanted one got one. Now, I know from a collectability standpoint, I talk about this all the time. When Hot Wheels makes releases unlimited like that, it does bring the overall value down, but again, purely from a collecting standpoint, it does allow everybody who wants one to get one. Another area where Hot Wheels and Mattel are really looking out for the collector is even car culture releases like this Spectacolore Lamborghini Countach LP i804. What a mouthful, but one of the newest car culture sets out there, and this being a new casting, it's on everybody's want list. If you couldn't find it at your Walmarts and Targets, well, it was on the Mattel Creations website, so you could have purchased it there for essentially retail plus shipping, which isn't a bad deal. And that's exactly where I got this one. So again, they are doing a lot of things off the Mattel Creations RLC website to really help out the collectors. So again, a great place to start your collection, and when you do, you get cars like this. Again, exclusive releases, this one being the membership car from 2022. You can see they really do make you feel included. You get the little button from Mattel Hot Wheels, and then you also get a Redline patch along with the car. Membership itself is only $10. You don't even have to purchase this membership car, which is around the $25, $30 price point. But when you get the RLC release cars, again, and that $25 to $30 price point, given the exclusivity of these cars, it's very probable that they will increase in value. And now again, I will preface that it is based on the model and the type of release and the features of the cars. For example, does it have opening hood, does it have special paint, right? But for the most part, I would say RLC cars at least hold their value or even grow a little bit over time. That's honestly what I feel like is part of the fun of Hot Wheels collecting and RLC pieces in general, is that they have that big bang for your buck to where they could potentially get up to triple figures as far as value. And then there's peg hunting. So this is tip number 4, and it's every collector's favorite pastime when it comes to Hot Wheels collecting. I mean, basically, you gotta roll up your sleeves and walk into the kids' toy aisle and start rifling through all the cars to see if you can find that release that you've been looking for. And I think at first you might feel a little funny, right? Because obviously it's kids section, these are kids' toys, and you're a grown adult for the most part, right? But I think at the end of the day, it's totally acceptable, and you get used to it after a while. But man, there's just nothing like the thrill of finding the cars that you're looking for, or you have been looking for quite some time. My example is this Fast and Furious set, Series 1 for 2023. And you can see I don't even have the full set, but I was just super happy to even get these 7 cars. I haven't even seen this series anywhere at my Walmarts in the last couple of months, and I feel like everybody has been just pulling sets left and right. And here I am 2 months later, finally finding at least some remnants of the set. And basically what I'm getting at, my point here is, when it comes to peg hunting, you just got to stay persistent, you got to stay positive. It's never too late. You always are gonna have those opportunities to get the cars that you want, so don't ever lose hope when it comes to peg hunting. I mean, the other bonus tips when it comes to hunting, hunt as often as you can. You don't have to be at the store at the exact opening of the stores. You don't always have to be there at night, although those are prime times. I mean, just go when you can, whether it's your lunch break, whether it's after work, or just when you're casually going out to get groceries for the day or for the week. I mean, you don't have to put any extra effort into it. I mean, again, this is just a hobby. It's all meant for fun, but just make sure you are checking ever so often, and I'm sure you'll come away with all the pieces that you've been looking for. And if you don't, kind of like in my particular situation, I only have 7 of the 10 cars out of this set. That's where tip number 5 comes into play, and that is getting involved in the Hot Wheels community. There's nothing like just the camaraderie within the Hot Wheels collectors. You make friends, share ideas, share tips when it comes to hunting or collecting. And that's exactly what I did in my scenario here. I have the 7 cars out of the Fast and Furious set. I need the other 3, the most sought after 3, which is the Nissan Silvia S15, the Mona Lisa. Then you got the Mitsubishi Eclipse, Paul Walker's first car out of the franchise. And then there's the ever elusive black Toyota Supra, which was the crown jewel of this Series 1 for 2023. But when I found these first 7 cars out of the set, I posted it up to the group chat and the communities that I was involved in, and immediately I got an overwhelming response from just some of my buddies who I've helped out in the past, and they've helped me out before, and they reached out and just told me, hey, I got extras of those 3 cars you're looking for, just send me a retail payment and I'll get them shipped out to you. So that's exactly what happened. So again, you don't always have to depend on peg hunting, although there is a big thrill to it. Stay close-knit to your community, whether that's local collectors or just folks that you run into and communicate with on social media. You'd be surprised how generous the collecting community is, and they're more than willing to help you progress your collection. So those are my 5 tips for starting a Hot Wheels collection. Just collecting what you like. Don't be afraid of the secondary market. Make sure you're an RLC member. Peg hunting, cornerstone of Hot Wheels collecting. And then there's getting involved in the community, making friends, getting to know your fellow collector. Now, I was debating whether I should throw this in this video, but again, we're a channel of diecast investing, so I have to talk about this. A bonus step in Hot Wheels collecting and building your collection is collecting for value. And I don't mean this in an evil way where I'm just out for money, but you gotta remember that this hobby is not free. Even though these cars are for the most part just $1, it adds up very quickly when you start reaching the heights of hundreds to thousands of cars within your collection. So it's okay to buy and put cars into your collection that maybe you don't have, again, a great interest in. So for example, 55th anniversary Porsche 993 GT2. It's not my favorite car. It's not a casting that I'm looking to complete and buy every single one that I can find to add to the collection. But if I do run across this particular cast, I know that there is a great following for it within the collector community, and I'm definitely gonna pick up 1 or 2 or maybe 3 and just hold them for the long term, whether it's the value of the car that's going to appreciate, or maybe I can use it as a trade piece later on so that I can get other pieces to add to my collection that I do really want for my own personal collection. Some other castings that I'll also share with you guys that I'm not a huge collector of: the 55 Bel Air Gasser. Again, I will definitely buy them and add them to the collection for a temporary basis, but the ultimate goal for casts like this, for me personally, is to eventually move them on to other collectors who will appreciate them more than me. But in return, the idea is I can get other pieces in trade that I will want in my collection, or potentially just to sell them so that I can use the funds to buy other cars that I may need for my collection, right? So it's a sustainable hobby. If you put it in that sense, it's not all money grubbing like a lot of people might think. But again, that's my bonus tip for you guys. Think about your hobby and your collection as an investment. That way you're not just shelling out your hard-earned cash, money out of your day-to-day budget to feed your addiction, because again, it's gonna get very pricey. So definitely be on the lookout for models and castings that you know are popular that you can use as trade pieces or work out deals with other collectors. I mean, that's just smart collecting, if you ask me, guys, not scalping. But that's what I got for you guys today. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time on DieCash Cars.